Review of the quiz. Factoring by grouping. Question number 6. When you're factoring by grouping, you typically want to have two terms and two terms. And when you have that, you then want to split it in two. And you want to ignore the second set of terms and look only at the first set of terms to see what can you factor out. So as I look at this, I see a 4 and a 7. They have nothing in common, so I can't factor anything out from them. I look at the x's, and I see that I can get an x3, x to the third, out of each of those. So I'm going to factor that out. Put it out front. And then I divide that from all of these others. So I have 4x to the 2. I used my rules for exponents. Minus 7x to the 0. Because I'm factoring that whole thing out there. Then I'm going to use my shortcut, which means I take my first term of my second set, 8x squared, and I'm dividing it by my first term there, 4x squared. I see the x squareds canceled out, and I have 8 divided by 4, which gives me 2. And I had a positive and a positive, so that is a positive 2. And then I factor that out of what's left. So I have positive divide positive, 8 divide 2, x squared, no x, bring it forward, minus divide plus, minus 14 divide 2, 7. Now I check to see, is what's inside the parentheses the same? Yes. So I factor that out. So I have 4x minus 7. And what did I factor it out of? I have the x to the third plus 2. And this problem is finished. Moving on to question number 7. Factor the binomial completely. So the binomial we are being asked to factor is 16x squared minus 81. And you can think about that while I erase the board. So now that you've unpaused the video and finished this problem, I'll show you how it works. I look at my 16. I recognize that that is 4 times 4. I look at my 81, and I recognize that is 9 times 9. So 4 times 4 is 4 squared. I have the x squared minus 9 squared, or 4x, quantity squared, minus 9 squared. I recognize this as being my difference of squares. So I have a squared minus b squared. So that's giving me a plus b times a minus b. So I have 4x plus 9 times 4x minus 9. And there is my answer. The one special product that you want to memorize. That was question number 7. Number 8. Find the domain of the rational expression. We have f of x equals 2x over 7 plus x. Start working on that while I erase the board. Okay, you've had your chance now. We're looking for the domain. So for the domain, we want to look at the denominator, and we want to say that that cannot equal 0. So if I'm looking at 7 plus x cannot equal 0, I need to solve this for x. So I'm subtracting the 7 from both sides, and I see that x cannot equal negative 7. So for some teachers, that would be enough. For other teachers, you might have to say x is a real number. And x does not equal 7, negative 7. For other teachers who are even more strict, you may have to say the set of all numbers x such that x is a real number comma, x does not equal negative 7. Close your set parentheses, your curly braces. So this one, this last answer here, this is correct no matter what type of teacher you have, if the teacher is looking for set notation. That was 8. Number 9. Find the product and simplify. So our problem is 3x to the third over 6 times 12 over x squared. Work on that while I erase the board. Okay, time to work it out. I see I already have it in times. I have a fraction times a fraction. So I don't have to do anything special. I can multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and reduce wherever I can reduce. So I am looking at the 6 here and the 12 there. And I say both can be divided by 6. So that cancels out to 1, and that cancels out to 2. I'm also looking at the x to the third and the x squared. And I see they can be reduced. So I can subtract 2 from my exponent on each of those. So then this becomes x to the 0, which cancels out, and this becomes x to the 1. So let's take care of what we have here, because there's a lot written there. I have my 3 still. I haven't done anything with that. I have x to the 1. Over here, I have the 2 that's still on top. On the bottom, 6 divides 6 canceled out to 1. X to the 2 minus 2, that canceled out to 1. So I have nothing left to write on the bottom. So my answer, 3 times 2 is 6. X to the 1, I don't need to write the 1 because it's understood to be there, and my answer is 6x. Last question from the quiz, number 10. Find the quotient and simplify. We have 4z to the 3rd over y to the 2nd divided by 3z to the 2nd, y to the 2nd, all over 5. So pause the video, work that out while I erase the board. Okay. First thing I see about this, I have a divide by sign. I can't do anything until I get rid of that divide by sign. So I'm going to keep the first fraction as it's written. 4z to the 3rd over y squared. I'm going to change that into times, and I'm going to flip that over itself. So what's on the bottom, the 5, is now on the top. What was on the top, the 3z squared, y squared, is now on the bottom. Now that I have times, I'm allowed to reduce. So I am looking for my numbers. I have a 4, a 3, and a 5. I don't see anything I can reduce there. I have a z to the 3 on the top. I'm looking for z's on the bottom. That's a y, there's a z, it's raised to the 2nd power. So I compare my 2 and my 3. The 2 is smaller, so I'm going to subtract that. And I'm getting rid of that z down there. I see a 5 on top. I don't have a 5 I can cancel out, so I hold on to that. So I have my 4z to the 1 times 5. That's everything that's on top. On the bottom, I have my y squared times my 3 times the z to the 2nd, that's gone. And I have my y squared there. So now I've written everything that I have. Now I need to combine my factors into more simplified work. So I have 4 times 5 is 20, z. I don't need to write the 1. Numbers come first, so 3. Y to the 2 plus 2 is 4. Double check that. Is there anything else I can factor out of that? 20 and 3, nope. Z, Y, they're different letters. That is done. There is my answer. And that finishes off that quiz.